Let me be real with you. You know that task takes 2 minutes. Stop pretending it's complicated. I'm talking about that email sitting in your inbox for 3 days. The one you keep thinking about. The one that pops into your head while you're scrolling through your phone at night. You know exactly which one I mean. It takes 2 minutes to write, maybe 3 if you're slow, but you've spent hours thinking about it. Hours carrying it around in your head like it's some massive burden. Why? Because you're lying to yourself. You're telling yourself it's complicated, that you need to craft the perfect response, that you'll do it when you have more time, more energy, more clarity. Bullshit. You're avoiding a 2-minute task and spending days' worth of mental energy pretending it's something bigger than it is. Here's what nobody wants to admit about productivity. Most of the crap weighing on your mind takes less than 5 minutes to actually do. Responding to that message, scheduling that appointment, putting away those dishes, making that quick call. But here's what happens. These tiny tasks pile up in your brain. They accumulate. They take up mental real estate until they feel like mountains you need to climb. And the worst part? You spend more energy avoiding them than it would take to just do the damn things. Let me tell you about the most useless productivity system I ever tried. I call it the I'll do it later system. You probably use it too. For 2 years, I carried around a mental list of small tasks I was going to do later. Reply to that text. Book that dentist appointment. Return that item I ordered. File that paperwork. None of them took more than 5 minutes. I knew this, but I kept putting them off, telling myself I'd batch them together when I had time. I'd schedule a small tasks block in my calendar. I'd create elaborate systems for tracking these tiny actions. You know what I was really doing? I was making simple tasks feel important. I was creating drama where there was none. Because if these tasks were important enough to track and schedule, then I had a reason to think about them constantly. One Tuesday afternoon, I sat down and actually timed myself. 11 tasks I'd been carrying around for weeks. Total time to complete all of them? 19 minutes. 19 minutes for tasks I'd spent literally hours thinking about, planning around, and feeling guilty about not doing. That's when it hit me. I wasn't procrastinating. I was addicted to the mental drama of having undone tasks. Here's the thing nobody tells you about your brain. Every time you complete something, even something tiny, your brain releases dopamine. That's the chemical that makes you feel good, that makes you want to keep going. But here's the pattern most people are stuck in. You avoid small tasks. They pile up. You feel overwhelmed. You feel guilty. You avoid them more. The cycle continues. What if you flipped it? What if every time you saw a small task, you just did it immediately? No thinking, no planning, no scheduling, just immediate action. Your brain starts craving completion instead of avoiding it. You're literally rewiring the neural pathways that make you productive. This isn't motivational BS. This is how your brain actually works. But everyone wants to make it complicated. They want the perfect system, the right app, the optimal workflow. They want to optimize and track and measure every damn thing. Screw that. You don't need a system for a 2-minute task. You need to stop overthinking and just do it. Here's the rule that changed everything for me. If it takes less than 5 minutes, do it now. That's it. No exceptions, no scheduling, no I'll batch these later, just immediate action. When I started applying this consistently, something shifted. I wasn't carrying around dozens of mental tabs anymore. My brain wasn't constantly reminding me about all the small crap I needed to do. Instead, I had mental clarity, space to actually think about things that mattered, energy for the work that required real focus. And the momentum? That's the part nobody expects. When you start clearing small tasks immediately, you build this psychological momentum that carries over into everything else you do. You're not the person who puts things off anymore. You're the person who handles things immediately. That identity shift is everything. Now let's talk about the resistance. Because you're feeling it right now, aren't you? That voice in your head saying, but what about batching? Isn't it more efficient to group similar tasks together? Listen, I get it. Batching works for certain things. If you're doing a specific type of work that requires deep focus, absolutely batch it. But be honest with yourself. How many times have you actually gotten around to that batch processing session? How many later tasks are sitting in your notes app right now? That batching excuse? 9 times out of 10, it's just procrastination wearing a productivity costume. The real question is this. Why are you spending mental energy deciding whether to batch a 2-minute task? Just do the task. The decision itself takes longer than the action. Your brain naturally gravitates toward the path of least resistance. Even for small tasks, there's this initial activation energy required to get started. You have to overcome that tiny bit of friction. But here's what most people don't realize. When you debate whether to do something, when you mentally calculate if it's worth doing now or later, you're burning willpower. You're using valuable mental energy on a decision that doesn't matter. Make it automatic instead. See a small task? Do it immediately. No decision required. You just save that willpower for decisions that actually matter. Think about how many times you've spent 20 minutes scrolling through social media to avoid a 3-minute task. We've all done it. You're literally paying interest on a productivity debt you could clear immediately. The math is absurd when you actually look at it. Over a week, those 5-minute tasks would consume maybe 2 hours if you did them all at once. But spread across the week as mental burden, they steal dozens of hours of mental bandwidth. Over a month, you're talking about days of cognitive energy wasted on tasks that collectively take a few hours to complete. Over a year, you've lost weeks of your life to mental clutter that didn't need to exist. But the benefits compound beyond just time saved. Your stress drops. Your confidence goes up. Your ability to focus on meaningful work improves dramatically. You stop feeling perpetually behind. You stop starting every day already exhausted from all the crap you didn't do yesterday. Here's where people screw up with this approach. They misjudge how long tasks actually take. We have this tendency to overestimate the time required for tasks we don't want to do. That email? You think it'll take 10 minutes. It takes 2. That phone call? You think 15 minutes. It takes 3. Try timing yourself. You'll be shocked at how wrong you are about task duration. Another mistake? Using "I'll do it later when I have time" as an excuse. You have time right now. You're just choosing to spend it thinking about the task instead of doing it. The crazy part is that after about 3 weeks of doing this consistently, it stops being a conscious choice. It becomes automatic. You start handling small tasks before they even register as decisions. I noticed this shift about a month in. I'd finish using a dish and immediately wash it. Not because I was following a rule, but because leaving it there felt weird. I'd see a message and reply right away, not because I was being disciplined, but because that had become my default. This is when the system stops being a productivity technique and becomes an identity change. You're no longer someone who puts things off. You're someone who handles things immediately. That shift is everything. And here's something nobody talks about. This extends way beyond just task management. It transforms relationships too. Those small relationship moments, sending a quick appreciation text, giving someone a genuine compliment, making that 5-minute call to check in. These tiny investments take almost no time, but yield massive returns in relationship quality. Most relationships don't fall apart from big conflicts. They deteriorate from accumulated small missed opportunities. You think about reaching out. You mean to send that message, but you don't. And the gap grows. Apply the same principle to relationships. See the opportunity for a small connection? Do it immediately. Watch what happens. Same with your health. 5-minute meditation. Quick stretching session. Preparing a healthy snack instead of grabbing junk food. We all have 5 minutes. The question is whether we're using them or wasting them thinking about using them. Now here's the counterintuitive part. By immediately handling small tasks, you actually create more free time than any elaborate planning system ever could. Most productivity systems require massive overhead. Maintaining task lists, prioritizing items, scheduling blocks, reviewing progress. That overhead takes time and mental energy. For tasks under 5 minutes, all that overhead is complete overkill. It takes longer to write the task down than to just do it. By handling things immediately, you bypass entire categories of productivity overhead. No need to write it down. Remember it. Schedule it. Review it. It's simply done. This creates something precious. Unstructured mental space. Time where your mind isn't juggling forgotten tasks or nagging obligations. This is where creative insights happen. This is where real presence in your life becomes possible. Isn't it backwards that by taking immediate action, you actually create more mental space than by carefully organizing everything? But here's the critical exception you need to understand. This rule doesn't apply when you're in deep work. If you're in a state of real focus, real creative flow, interrupting yourself for a 5-minute task is stupid. The cognitive switching cost is massive. Research shows it can take 23 minutes to fully regain focus after an interruption. So if you're deep in meaningful work, don't break that flow for a small task. Capture it quickly and return to your focus. The refined rule is this: if it takes less than 5 minutes, do it now. Unless you're currently engaged in deep, focused work that matters. The rule serves your productivity. You don't serve the rule. Even the most powerful principles require thoughtful application, not robotic adherence. Here's what I want you to do. For just 7 days, commit to this completely. When you encounter any task that takes less than 5 minutes, do it immediately. No hesitation, no debate, just action. At the end of 7 days, notice how different your mental state feels. Notice the lack of background anxiety from accumulated tasks. Notice how much more present you feel in your daily life. The real challenge isn't doing the small tasks. It's recognizing how many things you habitually postpone that actually take very little time to complete. I guarantee after 1 week, you won't want to go back. Once you experience the mental clarity this creates, delayed action on small tasks will feel as absurd as it actually is. It's like paying 20% interest on a loan you could pay off immediately. Once you see it that way, you can't unsee it. Look, this isn't some revolutionary productivity hack. It's not a life-changing secret. It's common sense you've been avoiding because you're addicted to the drama of carrying tasks around. Stop making simple actions complicated. Stop romanticizing basic task completion. Stop pretending you need the perfect system before you can reply to that email. You know what needs to be done. You know how long it takes. Stop lying to yourself about it. Just do the damn thing. That's it. That's the whole system. If it takes less than 5 minutes, do it now. Everything else is just noise.